Good morning, all. So, just let me give introduction about what is pharmacovigilance. Actually, today we will see about what is pharmacovigilance and how it come into existence, and what is the need of pharmacovigilance in the pharmaceutical industry, and what are the key terms involved in pharmacovigilance, and who should report these adverse events to health authorities or to pharmaceutical companies. So those things we'll see. So before going to that, just listen to me carefully. You listen the things as you don't know anything in pharmacovigilance, so that I will make you to understand each and every term and each and everything in the pharmacovigilance by end of this session. Not today, by whole session and whole class of 30 days, you will get to know what exactly the pharmacovigilance and why should we do it, and what are the different modules in pharmacovigilance. How would you do those modules? So that I will teach you and make you learn the things. So okay, today is we are going to see about these things. See, just nowadays we have been using the term pharmacovigilance in pharmaceutical industry repeatedly, and we have been listening it more often. What exactly this pharmacovigilance? So this means pharmacovigilance. The name is derived from Greek and Latin. So here the pharmacon. Pharmacon means medicinal substance. Vigilia means keep watch. So if you see, look at this, it's a simple thing that you have to keep watch on medicinal substance. Why should we keep watch on medicinal substance? So because these medicinal substances are deals with or it's associated with patient's health. So in any country, the regulatory authorities' main motto is to look at patient safety. So patient safety is the most important thing for any pharmaceutical organization or any regulatory authority, or anything that is related to medicinal product. They should first focus on patient health, and that is patient health safety is the major part. That is why. So this pharmacovigilance is keep watch on medicinal substances. That is pharmacovigilance, if you say in a layman term. But if you go into the definition, see, look at the definition. So what I suggest to you that always learn from the definitions and by the headings itself, so that you can learn the things very well and you can remember it. No need to buy hard or no need to do anything. So say, for example, if you go into the definition of pharmacovigilance, so it is defined as signs and activities relating to the detection, assessment, understanding, and prevention of the adverse effects or any other drug related problem. It means if you look at the definition carefully, so it includes detection. What you have to detect? You have to detect, not you, any patient or healthcare professional, they detect a problem associated with the medicinal product. So when they consume a medicinal product, the patient will identify a problem with his own body related to the drug, or a physician while prescribing or after prescribing, he may come to know some problem associated with the medicinal product, or any healthcare professional like pharmacist, nurse, or whoever it may be. So they may detect. So once they detect it, what they do, they report it to particular pharmaceutical company. Now it's the function or it's the responsibility of the pharmaceutical company to look after remaining things in the definition. Once the patient has been detected or he had been identified a problem associated with the medicinal product, he has to report it to pharmaceutical organization or company. The pharmaceutical organization's pharmacovigilance safety associate or safety officer, they have to assess the problem detected. How they assess? They need to assess with the causal relationship between the drug and the adverse event occurred, and they have to for that, how would they assess? They have different documents called reference safety information, and in that reference safety information, they will see whether this particular drug is listed, particular event is listed or unlisted. Unlisted means whether it is there in that particular reference document, then it is listed. If it is not there in that particular reference document, then we call it as unlisted. That we'll see in separate class. But to make you understand what exactly the listed and unlisted, I've been explaining. So here, once this pharmacovigilance associate receives the problem detected by the patient, then they need to assess. They, for this assessing, they use SMPC, like reference information, and they also check with the medical history associated with the patient and what the past drugs are being taken by patient, and what is the present concurrent condition, means present conditions of the patient, and what is his ethnic conditions, and those things will taken into consideration, and it will be assessed. And after assessing, it's a process of assessing and understanding are interlinked to one another. So the assess understanding, the reporter and safety specialist involved in the understanding of the adverse event or the drug related problem, then after understanding, what they do is they prepare a concise summary of all the problems related to the drug, and they give a statement of company comment, and then they will submit it to the regulatory authority. So now it's regulatory authority. What they do is what they have to monitor the patient health. So once we submit it to the regulatory authority, then they will take some preventive actions against the problems, repeatedly occurring problem, or any kind of potent problems associated with the medicinal product, or any other health related, major health related conditions associated with the medicinal product. Then this regulatory authority will suggest some precautionary actions to monitor, or to, sometimes if it is repeatedly occurring and it's leading to a death of the patient, then they will always suggest them pharmaceutical companies to take back the drug, or that means recall the drug from the market. So this is one. So if you look at the definition again, so here it is the signs and activities relating to the detection, assessment, understanding, and prevention of the adverse effects or any problem associated with the medicinal product. So here the prevention or the precautionary actions to be taken is not only the responsibility of the health authority, it's also in a pharmaceutical company. They themselves can also provide some precautionary actions to prevent repeated adverse events. So this is the definition. If you see at the definition, so if you look at this pharmacovigilance, so now you have got an idea about this pharmacovigilance. It means keeping eye on medicinal product, so that in this way you will watch the medicinal product. So this pharmacovigilance has to be conducted.
Hello.
Hello.
Are you sharing a screen, sir?
Yeah,
Hello. We can't hear you, sir.
yeah. Sorry for the trouble. Now it's audible.
Yes, it's audible.
Sorry for the trouble. Okay. So here where we are. So here in the pharmacovigilance, we have seen the definition. In this way, we need to keep watch on the medicinal product. And here, like, we have to do the pharmacovigilance activities throughout life cycle of the medicinal product. So this life cycle of the medicinal product, it begins from the innovation of the medicinal product. So after innovation, you have to go for different kinds of trials, like phase 1, phase 2, phase 3. So from the beginning of the phase 1 itself, the pharmacovigilance starts. So whenever you experience any adverse event in these clinical trials, also been reported to the regulatory authorities periodically, as well as individually for each patient. Okay, so then we have to monitor this safety of the medicinal product throughout life cycle of the medicinal product. Okay, so here, if you look at how this pharmacovigilance come into existence, so actually this pharmacovigilance come into existence with a disaster called thalidomide disaster. So here, this thalidomide disaster occurred in 1960s. What exactly this thalidomide disaster is associated with? So this thalidomide is an immunomodulator drug, and it has been used to prescribed for pregnant women. So for treating morning sickness, nausea and morning sicknesses. So in this situation, it has been like prescribed to, like it is been promoted heavily, and it's prescribed to uh, large number of population in 1960s. So then it been observed that more than 20,000 cases were reported with fetal deformities. So that is, the condition is called phocomelia. Phocomelia is a condition where the baby born with fetal deformities, like limb deformities. So that is, the condition is called phocomelia. So in 1960s, there were like 20,000 plus cases was reported. So then this regulatory authority started to thinking about it, like why it is been occurring. So then they found out a reason that because of thalidomide, it it occurred. So then in 1962, this US FDA amended their Drug and Cosmetic Act to reflect safety and efficacy data also. So before that, it was not there in the. They now look into the safety and efficacy data of the drug before 1962. So in 1962, because of this thalidomide, they included this safety and efficacy data into cosmetic Drug and Cosmetic Act. So in the same 1964, because of this thalidomide disaster, UK have a regulatory authority. Like every country have a regulatory body or regulatory authority to monitor these kind of things and to give approval for manufacturing of drug. So likewise, US have US FDA, like India have CDSCO. So likewise, UK also have MHRA. So this is MHRA is the regulatory authority's name. So this MHRA has introduced yellow card system. So what is this yellow card? Yellow card system is nothing but a system where it's in a card where you can write the whatever the adverse event you experienced with any drug, that can be submitted directly to the MHRA, that is regulatory authority. So then regulatory authority will look into it, and they try to identify what is the cause, and if it is associated with particular medicinal product of particular organization, then they will send this to particular organization to investigate it, why it is happened. So likewise, they introduced this yellow card system in UK in 1964 because of this thalidomide disaster. So even WHO, World Health Organization program for international drug monitoring, come into existence in 1968 in response to thalidomide disaster. Okay. So likewise, the program started as like a pilot project for 10 participating countries. Now it's been increased, or it's almost it's spread to all the countries. Okay. In 2000, in only 5 African countries, they used to perform good pharmacovigilance activities. Now this figure has now reached to 34. So likewise, so every country and like becoming aware, they becoming aware of it, and they are imposing some strict rules to monitor patient safety, and that is patient safety. So, because of that patient safety, and this pharmacovigilance has been come into existence. So, like adverse reactions to the drug are estimated to be between fourth and sixth cause of death in USA. So these adverse events become the cause of death, in a major cause of death in USA. So then they thought why it is been occurring. So for this, so they thought to implement some monitoring system. So that monitoring system itself is pharmacovigilance. So more than 10% of adverse drug reactions lead to hospitalization, according to some studies. And worldwide, more than 50% of the medicines are prescribed, dispensed, or sold inappropriately. That means they will dispense without any prescription or something like that. Inappropriately, they have been doing these activities, and 50% of patients fail to take them correctly. So they don't know how to take. So say for example, if antibiotics there, they have to follow a course prescribed by the physician or treating physician. So they need to follow this particular course. If they stop or they interrupt in between, uh, the effect might reduce. There may not be any effect. So likewise, 50% of the patient fail to take them correctly. So to monitor these drug administrations and to prescriptions, so this pharmacovigilance come into existence. So 30% of the total health budget accounts for use of medicines in many countries. So even this country's government also has been taking steps to improve pharmacovigilance activities in particular countries. So they started to allocate some budget to do this pharmacovigilance activity. So this is the reason uh, this pharmacovigilance come into existence. Okay. So if you So based on these activities, and after these regulations come into existence, uh, this regulatory authorities has been implemented a kind of reporting system. So here every organization has to report the adverse events associated with the medicinal product to the regulatory authority. And after this implementation of rules and regulations, regulatory authority has been banned some drugs. Here I have listed only few of them, but there are many drugs which have been banned after implementation of these rules and regulations with uh, regulatory authority. So if you look at this banned drugs, so analgin is a simple painkiller. Like it is being used for like a simple painkiller, and after taking this drug, uh, the patient used to experience an adverse drug reaction called bone marrow depression. So bone marrow depression was the major adverse event associated with the analgin, and because of this adverse event, adverse drug reaction, it is been banned. So the what are the brands banned here have been mentioned here: Novalgin and Baralgon. So these are the brands which has been banned uh, because of this bone marrow depression. So here, if you look at this example, here the major adverse drug reaction is bone marrow depression. So it is been repeatedly occurring in the people, and it is a major cause, and that is why the regulatory authority has taken steps to ban this drug. So likewise, there are other examples. Cisapride. Cisapride is used as an antacid, like and it is also used for constipation. So it used to produce a adverse drug reaction called irregular heartbeat. So then it has been banned. So here I have mentioned the brand name of the banned drug. So next, Dopridol. Dopridol is an antidepressant drug, and it's also causing irregular heartbeat. And furazolidine, it's an used for diarrheal, so antidiarrheal drug, and it used to cause cancer. So Nimsloid is another best example. This is a painkiller and used for fever also. So it used to cause liver failure. So it is also been banned. So here, after this pharmacovigilance come into existence, it has been implemented some rules and regulations. So then, because of that rules and regulations to monitor the patient safety, so with that rules and regulations, some drug also already have been banned, and now this pharmacovigilance rules and regulations have become very strict in almost every country, including India also. So in India also now people have started to report adverse events. So at this point, being a responsible citizen, I would like to suggest, or I would like to request you people that please try to encourage the people around you to report adverse events associated with the particular medicinal product, what they have been taking. Okay? So here, if you look at, so what is the need? Here we have learned about what the exactly pharmacovigilance deals with and what exactly the pharmacovigilance is and how it is come into existence. So now you can ask some questions. Why we should do pharmacovigilance? What is the use of it? So if you ask that question, have been listed some of the reasons why should we have to do pharmacovigilance. See, if you look at one by one, proactive monitoring and reporting on the quality, safety, efficacy of the drug. So if you look at this safety, efficacy of the drug in the earlier example of thalidomide, there it's because lack of safety efficacy data, the patients has been taken the drug and they experienced some fetal deformities in the fetus. So so without safety efficacy data, it is been released into market, and it has shown some adverse conditions. So to stop them, to stop them, this pharmacovigilance has to look at safety and efficacy of the drug before releasing into the market. So that is the reason. That is the reason this pharmacovigilance has come into existence. So if you look at the quality, quality is also being looked by pharmacovigilance officials has to look into it. How? If I have to, like, I will give you an example. Say, for example, a drug has been prescribed by a doctor, and the patient has taken some drug, what that prescribed drug, and that prescribed drug is not been acting to him, like it's not been treating his condition. So what, for whatever the condition he has been taken the medicine, that condition is not cured. So there might be a quality defect associated with the medicinal product. So that is why this drug is might not acting on the particular patient. So then the pharmacovigilance guy, or the pharmacovigilance officer, has to look into the quality of the product. How would he look into the quality of the product? He has to ask the quality the sample or the medicine whichever returned with him, and then this drug has been sent to our quality department in our organization. They will reanalyze the thing and they will report it to pharmacovigilance department, and based on the analysis of whatever the dissolution parameters or drug release pattern or absorption pattern, everything will be recollected and we'll look into it whether it is exactly associated with the quality defect or it is been associated with any pre comorbidities, like any preconditions associated with the patient, that it is been assessed by pharmacovigilance associate. Then they will release an investigation report saying that if there is a problem with this particular medicine, then we have to write it as there is a problem with the medicine, or if it is no problem with the medicine and it's only a problem with the patient, then we have to describe the associated problems with the patient. So that is how this pharmacovigilance acts and helps in quality, safety, efficacy of the drug. Likewise, assessment of the risk and benefits of the marketed medicine. So always what I can suggest here is that you have to remember two things in the pharmacovigilance, that is always patient safety, and the other thing is risk benefits of medicine. So if you look at a medicine, every medicine in the world, whatever it is, been associated with some risks and as well as benefits. Though we know that there are risks, but still we'll release those markets in those drugs into market. Why? If you look at this risk benefit analysis or risk benefit of a medicinal product, always benefits overweighs the risk. So that is why we release them into market. So we have to, as a pharmacovigilance officer, we have to look and we have to periodically analyze the risk and benefits associated with the medicinal product that has been released into the market, as well as which are under investigation. So here, if you feel that, or if your pharmacovigilance associate identifies that there is some risk which are overweighing the benefits, then we have to propose some risk minimization measures, and we have to prepare a risk management plan. So for this reason, the pharmacovigilance come into existence. For this reason, the we need to do pharmacovigilance. So next is monitoring the impact of any corrective actions taken. So, say for example, in the previous example, you said that there is some risks associated with the medicine. Then you have suggested some corrective actions to reduce the risk associated with the medicine. Now, this pharmacovigilance will monitor the impact of corrective actions you suggested for risk minimization, whether the suggested actions has been properly acting or not. That you have to monitor. So for this reason, we need pharmacovigilance. Providing information to consumers, practitioners, and regulators on the effective use of the drug. Say, for example, one of your drug has come latest into the market. Then you have to educate the consumers. Then you have to educate the practitioners, and you have to give the your drug details to the regulatory authorities for effective use of the drug. Say, for example, your drug is there and it is not to be administered along with some foods like grape juice, etc., etc. Then you have to always, though you been write this in packet insert or your reference information, still you will educate the practitioners. Sometimes the practitioner in busy, they will write your drug and other drug. So you know that you have your drug is X and other drug is Y. You know that X and Y should not be prescribed at a time. The patient should not be taken X and Y drug at a time. So that in that situation, you will educate the practitioner. So, sir, you should not prescribe Y drug along with our X drug because they have drug interactions. So, in this way, you educate. So, you also educate the people about food drug interactions, drug interactions. So, that is the reason the pharmacovigilance is needed. So, here, if you look at the design programs and procedures for collecting, analysis, analyzing reports from patients and clinicians. So, like as we look into the definition here, the whatever the problem detected, you will have some methods and you will propose some programs to collect adverse events associated with the medicinal product from patients and clinicians, practitioners. So, early detection of unknown safety problems. Say, for example, if you look at this point, in clinical trials, we do uh, clinical trials and limited number of patients with a limited age group. So there will get only limited information associated with your medicinal product. But with this limited information, you will go for authorization of medicine. Once you get the medicine authorized, you will manufacture it and you will distribute into the market. So here you don't know some problems which are associated with the medicinal product in the clinical trials. Now you can detect those after post marketing. So in the post marketing, once you collect the adverse events associated with the medicinal product from practitioners and patients or consumers, so then you'll get to know a safety information of unknown safety information associated with your product. So for this reason, you need pharmacovigilance. So detection of increases in frequency of adverse reactions. So some drugs, like say for example, you know that for your drug, the headache would be there, but it is in a rare condition. Like 1 in 1 lakh people will get headache with your drug. But after it releasing into the market, the frequency has been increased. So you will get to know that your drug, the headache associated with your drug has been increased. The frequency has been increased. So now you analyze why it is being increased. So then you, with this available information, whether you will update your reference information or you will take some actions against. So for this reason, pharmacovigilance is. So identification of the risk factors associated with the ADRs, whatever the adverse drug reactions with the risk associated with the adverse drug reactions can be identified. So risk analysis and mitigation. So as I said in the first second point here, risk, you will analyze the risk and you will mitigate it, and for that you will propose a plan, that is risk management plan. So for this reason, pharmacovigilance is. Finally, if everything is there, the other thing is patient safety. So as I said earlier, you have to remember two things. One is patient safety, and other thing is risk benefit balance of medicinal product. So for this reason, we have to perform pharmacovigilance activity. So next, if you look at some key terms associated with the pharmacovigilance, here the major terms which are repeatedly repeated in pharmacovigilance is side effect, adverse event or adverse reaction, and adverse drug reaction. There is a small differentiation between these definitions. Try to observe them and try to catch the difference, so that these things will help you in assessing the adverse events or whatever the problem associated with the medicine in future. So try to look at this side effect. So if you look at the side effect, the definition is any unintended effect of a pharmaceutical product occurring at a dose normally used in man or human being, which is related to pharmacological property of the drug. So the side effect is always a pharmacological property associated with the drug. So if you look at the example here, uh, like problems that occur when the treatment goes beyond the desired effect, or problem that occurs in addition to the desired therapeutic effects or the side effect. So if you look at the definition, example, here hemorrhage from the use of too much anticoagulants, such as heparin, is a side effect caused by treatment going beyond the desired effect. Here hemorrhage is leakage of blood. Okay, so this heparin is an anticoagulant. So anticoagulant is to prevent the coagulation of the blood cells. So here, if you use too much of anticoagulant, it leads to hemorrhage. So hemorrhage is associated with the physiological conditions of heparin. So that is the side effect. So if you look at other example of this side effect, okay. So if you look at the example of other side effect is cancer. Cancer is a if you give treatment for cancer drug, then the major side effect is alopecia. Alopecia is the loss of hair. So likewise, if you look at the adverse drug event, adverse event in an unintended medical occurrence that may present during the treatment with pharmaceutical product, but which does not necessarily have a causal relationship with the treatment. So if you look at this definition, so there is a untoward medical occurrence with the medicinal product, but there could not be there is not a hard and fast rule that this particular adverse event related to the drug. So here it may or may not related to the drug. Say for example, a patient has taken study drug and met with an accident while walking on the street. The accident would be reported as adverse event to the regulatory authority, but this accident may or may not be due to our drug. So that is here the main thing you need to remember in adverse event is there may be or may not be a causal relationship with the drug. That is adverse event. So if you look at adverse drug reactions, so here in response to which a noxious and unintended and which occurs at a dose normally in human beings for prophylaxis, diagnosis, or therapy of disease for the medication of the physiological function. So here you have given a drug for either for prophylaxis or diagnosis or therapeutic disease. So here, whatever the adverse event appeared will be associated with your drug. That is, there is a causal relationship with your drug. So these are the definitions you have to remember. So if you go on different like step by step, there are lot many things to discuss. So at this point of time, we'll like we'll wind up for the today. So whatever the things we need to discuss, we'll discuss in our regular class. So here I've been winding off for today. Uh, yeah, Madhuri, can I stop here?
Yes, sir. You can stop here so that
And benefit to join our institute is to have access of the stream material till 1 year. Resume preparations will be assistance to you. Placement assistance, mock interview class. Two batches can be joined with the same fees. Recorded sessions of the class will be available to you on your mail ID or on the particular website. Member chat area will be available to you. You can have a member chat area. You can have chat to the members even. And you ask your questions after the completion of the course. Okay, these are the core details and these are the contact details. You can contact any one of the mobile numbers or the mail address to have register yourselves in the course. So any questions, let us know.
Are you providing training for CSV as well?
Yes, correct. Yeah, computer system validation will provide the training. You can contact on the same number only. Okay.
Acha.
Yeah.
So are you, okay. So we have the live
Yes.
environment.
Live environment in the sense you wanted to be have a hands-on experience on a particular application.
Yes, exactly.
Applications will not be shared it to you, but we can say the CSV is not like only single application. It will be multiple application. You have to be validate the application, various application actually. So single
Okay.
application we cannot provide. However, you can join the LIMS class where have a single application details actually. They will
Okay.
share all the details of the application of the LIMS application. CSV is like a oral application. How you going to validate the application? That will be discussed in the CSV class. Okay. You can reach out to these number for further details. They will
Okay.
provide the details on that. Yeah.
Okay. Fine.
So any other questions? I'll show you one more about the classes and the courses. So these are the courses. You can join any of the courses. Okay. Any questions you have, else we can close the class. And please ensure that you have filled the form. Madam has shared you, just fill this form so that we can reach out to you for any of the courses. Even this is the course selection form. You can select which courses you wanted to be have detailed. So they will provide the brochure details to your contact address. Okay. So please ensure before leaving the class, you will fill this form. So yeah, thanks. Thanks for joining. Yeah.